Hi, my name is Usha, and I am new to Anchor, but I'm so glad that I joined the Anchor podcast family because it is so user-friendly. I encourage you to use your voice and broadcast it to the podcasting world by using Anchor. No fancy equipment is needed, just you, your voice, and your mobile phone. That's what I do. I love Anchor because they distribute my podcast to the world, and if I want, I can select sponsorships, and that sponsorship money will be used to benefit a charity that is near and dear to my heart. It also enables me to share my passion for advocating for caregivers to the rest of the world. So what are you waiting for now? Just download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hi, this is Usha, and you're listening to the Indian Caregiver podcast. Thank you for listening to my podcast. I'm really looking forward to this episode. As many of you know, that June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. So keep taking care of oneself is super important, and it's important that we don't neglect ourselves despite what comes in our schedules every day unexpectedly, especially as a caregiver. But today I'm excited to have Ty Gilbert on my podcast as a guest. I met Ty, I think it's been about 2 years now. I love spinning. I've always loved spinning, so I was really excited when they opened a location close to my place where I was able to go as often as I could. And what really drew me to Ty's class was not only his music and energy, but halfway through the class, he would give a lot of inspirational and motivational quotes that really resonated with me, because he was one of those instructors who would not be like hardcore military. He would let you be, despite the challenges one would have in class or, during that day. And being a caregiver, I would always have challenges where I would be dragging myself, like I don't want to go, but I should at least try to go. And then I would not regret the decision. But especially my Saturday classes, when I would double up with Leo and Ty, Ty would talk about, really push yourself. And that would really resonate with me, that on a Saturday after I got home and took care of my mom, that's where a lot of my advocacy thoughts came about, was that motivation, and it resonated with me, throughout the week till I would do his classes. So I reached out to Ty. He's doing a lot of exciting things in the community, as well as for himself and for others, making a difference. So this podcast is important to me because Ty has been there during my challenging times and kind of uplifted me and reminded me not to give up, to take baby steps, to go at your own pace, and that you're the CEO of your life, which we'll talk about. So Ty, welcome.
Hello, thank you. I am so excited to be here. Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm super excited because I get to talk about well-being, health, and being the CEO of your own life, which is so important to me.
So Ty, tell us about yourself.
All right.
Who is Ty?
Who is Ty? I'm still trying to figure out Ty myself, but I can tell you right now, I like to say that I'm a fierce individual. And what I mean by that is not that I'm just a fabulous person or anything like that, but I go for anything that I want. I'm not afraid of failure, and I know that at this time I have to be the boss and the CEO of my own life. I've been in fitness for about 5 years now, but I didn't start taking it very serious till about 2 years ago when I got to Ruckus. Once I got to Ruckus, and I realized it's not all about just the fitness aspect of it, it's a mental aspect of it too. And I was going through my own personal challenges, but when I got to Ruckus, I just knew that it has to be mind, body, soul connection. I worked for RuPaul's Drag Race for about 8 years. I ended up letting that go and just working for drag queens behind the scenes as a choreographer. I love working for the show RuPaul's Drag Race, but there was no real satisfaction there because I was on the stage and people would see me and I'm like, oh, thank you. But then they see me for 3 minutes and I'm gone. And I just wanted something more than that. So when I got into fitness and I could see these people day in and day out, 5 days a week, I mean, I see my clients more than I see my own mom. That gave me so much fulfillment in my life. So right now I'm a fitness instructor. I'm on my journey to being a motivational speaker, and I just love everything that I do right now in my life.
One thing that resonated, and I told this podcast will kind of be freestyle, because I know Ty, and he's got a lot of information to share, and a lot that really motivating. Is that one thing that I remember that really motivated me was as a caregiver prior to taking care of my mom, especially as it gets more challenging. I was really into my fitness. I would get up super early. I would work out during my lunches, evenings. I mean, it was just like nonstop, but I enjoyed it. It wasn't for body image, but unfortunately, with time, I have put on weight the past 30 pounds the past few years because my schedule is just all over the place. But one thing that did, you would say that, fitness is a journey, and that you were talking about your weight loss journey and how it takes time. And that's something that, really stuck with me, is that, things don't happen overnight.
Correct.
Whether you're trying to lose weight or get into a habit, it takes time in order for you to enjoy your path.
Yes, you have to take the time. I mean, one thing that I'm learning in life is I was always a very structured person. I'm working out this day at 6 a.m. If I didn't wake up on time, I just wouldn't work out. And that's such a bad mindset to have. You have to adapt to life sometimes. So, I mean, sometimes life throws challenges at us, and sometimes you gotta be like, okay, I didn't work out at 6 a.m. Maybe I can get a little 20-minute workworkout. Anything you can get into those time frames, you have to just make it work. But it's a journey, and I need people to understand, and even for you, you understand that it's a journey. It's not a race. It is a journey. Take your time to get there. You're going to feel so much better on that journey if you say, I didn't work out today, but let me work out tomorrow. I didn't work out at 6 a.m., but can I get a 20-minute workout in? Take it as a journey, because you're going to learn so much more as a journey than a race.
And I struggle with that even, today, because, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I need to work out for a minimum 30 minutes, and then once I get into that 30-minute zone, especially doing cardio, I feel like I'm unstoppable.
Yes.
I can go for another 30 minutes. So, I think that's, one thing that I'm struggling, and I learned from you is that, even 15 or 20 minutes, just makes a difference. Or even just like, we were talking about just stretching, it doesn't always have to be pouring down sweat and stuff. Just taking time and, stretching and meditating is just as important.
It feels so good, because as you're on this journey, we're not only there to work out our bodies, we're working out our minds at the same time. And what good does it do us to go to a workout? We know our mind is not there, and we're in that workout and we're stressing ourselves out. And you ever been inside of a workout when you're working out, you're like, I'm just not feeling this today. It's like you're forcing your body to do something that it doesn't want to do right now. You're forcing your mind to do something that it doesn't want to do, and now you're just setting yourself back on your journey. Take that time to yourself to say, okay, today I don't want to work out hardcore. Today I maybe just want to get in a stretch or a 20-minute workout or even a 5-minute workout. But it's a journey. So take your time and enjoy the moment. But remember, it's not only about your mind, it's about your body, it's about your soul, it's about your spirit.
Exactly. So, June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. And usually I try to post more and stuff, but I've had some challenges this month, with my mom that have been unexpected. So what advice would you give to not only caregivers, but those who want to, do something for themselves, to keep their, brains fit, to prevent, cognitive decline, to get on a schedule. June would be a perfect month, bringing that awareness about. What advice would you give?
Taking time to yourself when you can find the time. I know a lot of times as a caregiver or just in everyday life, we plan out things and it may not work out like that at a certain time. So just make a time for yourself, even if you need to carve out 5 minutes of your day to say, I'm going to get in some squats today. It's going to make you feel so much better. I'm really into meditation, and I have a very busy schedule, and I think it was on Monday, I was feeling very stressed out at work. And I said, I don't have any time to myself to work out. I haven't worked out in 5 days. I literally went and got lunch. And right before I ate my lunch, I did a 3-minute meditation right there in the parking lot. And that felt so good to myself. So I always tell people, when you feel busy or stressed out, just make some time for yourself. Even if it's 2 minutes right now, that 2 minutes is going to turn into 4 minutes. That 4 minutes is going to turn into 6 minutes. And then maybe today you get 10, maybe tomorrow you get 4, maybe the next day you get 30. But every day, if you take 1 minute to yourself, that is so important in life. Even if it's a minute today, 5 minutes tomorrow, next week 30 minutes, you could tell yourself, today I got a minute to myself to do some squats, some meditation, a push-up, something that just made me feel good and that took my mind somewhere else.
And, he's mentioned, talking about squats, that does help, especially with, Alzheimer's and, cognitive challenges. Because, for example, with my mom, she never worked out. I mean, she worked out for a brief period with me, but she was just one of those who loves food, does not work out and did not work out. But I see that now she's on a walker and she has trouble walking and balancing. But now I see that the benefits, like, 1 minute's not going to do anything. But when I look at her, I'm like, you know what? That minute does make a difference.
Yes.
And you add it up every day. And that's going to help me in the long run, to prevent me from hopefully not having a walker or any challenges, walking or balance issues.
I always say, set yourself up with a challenge. So the best way to start is say, every day this week, I'm going to do 5 squats. And then week 2, every day in week 2, I want to do 10 squats. Set yourself up with a mind challenge. It feels good, but if you complete that challenge every day, there's just something in your souls that feels positive and good about that. So sometimes I tell my clients, okay, you can't do a burpee, I get it, but can you do a burpee a day for 30 days? Okay, next month, can you do 2 burpees a day? You start there, but as long as you start somewhere, and if you complete that mission, there's something about completing that mission that feels so good. It's almost like making your bed in the morning. If you make your bed in the morning every day, you're like, oh, it looks good, it makes you feel good. So doing those 5 squats or those 5 push-ups or that 2-minute meditation a day, you know that you completed that task and it just feels good.
It really does. I think a few Fridays ago, I was home and it was like 8:30, and a part of me is like, okay, I need to do something because I did not work out that day. And I just took out my yoga mat, put it on the floor, and I did some stretches with that Pilates bar. And I'm like, after 10 minutes, I just did 10 minutes. I'm like, wow, that really made a difference. I woke up the next morning, I was feeling looser. My problem areas were not so tight, the tensions and stuff.
Yes.
And it really does make a difference.
It makes a difference. And another thing I want to say is, don't be afraid to tell yourself thank you. Tell yourself thank you. If you did that 10 minutes Pilates, tell yourself thank you. I think sometimes we get away from being kind to ourselves. We give everybody else so much advice on loving themselves, but are you being kind to yourself? When is the last time you did 5 squats and you felt good and you told yourself thank you? Thank your body for allowing you to get to those 5 squats. Thank yourself that you completed that mission, because you have to be your own biggest fan. You have to be your own biggest supporter.
Mm-hmm. And I believe in that philosophy because I invest in trainers and going to the gym and stuff. And the way that I see it is that hopefully I'll thank myself in the future, is because it's an investment. That money that I'm spending on a gym or training is potentially a medicine.
Correct.
A monthly medicine or a doctor's visit more frequently. So that's the reason why, I firmly believe you have to thank yourself and invest in yourself now rather than, 10, 15 years later. You have to control what you can control.
Exactly. And you know what? I feel like you're thanking yourself right now, because sometimes what we forget is that it's in the long run, yes, because the medicine. So right now you're taking care of yourself so that hopefully you won't need that medicine in the future. But if you think about, if you're not investing in your mental health and your physical health right now, how would you feel overall right now? You may be in a dark place. You just may not feel that good about yourself. So sometimes taking those steps to invest in yourself is helping along the way, little by little, and we don't even realize it.
It's very true. So, I know one quote, there's sometimes there are quotes that really motivate me. And there's one quote that really motivated me, especially Saturday mornings, was, "You are the CEO of your life." And the reason that really motivated me was because I love sharing my knowledge with, other people and, advocating And when you would say during class, after you would give us a rigorous workout before the last 10 minutes to kind of motivate us to keep going,
Yes.
which it really did, because I think a lot of my good stats came. My first 10, 15 minutes of class, I was a little flat. But, the final 15 minutes of class, I really picked up when you would say you're the CEO of your life, you're in charge of that. And that quote really motivated me, because afterwards, if my mom was in a bad mood or I had challenges with her, nothing would bother me. I felt like I was on top of the world, cloud nine. And I would go home, in the afternoons on Saturday after I would take care of my mom. And I would just sit in my room and I would start my podcast. I would write, a blog piece, or I would, post something on social media, for advocacy, for awareness. So why is this quote important to you, and how does it motivate you?
This is one of my favorite quotes in the world. This quote brought me out of a dark place. So basically, you are the CEO of your life, and what that means is enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment you're in. I think sometimes we always get in this rut, and when we're in this rut, we think to ourselves, oh my God, life is just taking a course. I'm just here. But you're not just here. You're not just here. You are in charge. You are the CEO of your own life. You can hire, fire, promote whoever you want to in your life based off of your own happiness. For example, if you have someone in your life right now, you feel like they're not adding anything to your life or they're stressing you out, you are the CEO, so you can say, I don't want this person in my life anymore. You have that option to say that. Sometimes in life, especially when you're feeling down or depressed, you feel like, oh, I'm just going with the emotions. No, you are the CEO. You have the power to take charge. And that's so important.
And I think COVID has really taught me that, a lot of self-reflection, that you are the CEO of your life, because I realized that my life was just nonstop.
Yeah.
You're working, which is an obligation. Then afterwards you have social obligations. Then I would take care of my mom, then working out. And I think COVID this past year has made me reflect that, when you say you can hire people, I do that when it comes time to obligations.
Yes.
Like, do I really need to go there, and have, chit chat with people I don't know? Is that networking important? What value does it bring to me? Or am I better off just staying at home, in my pajamas and writing a blog article, and that influencing or that helping someone? That's how I'm starting to, reassess, my life now, is that, you need to have that social aspect. But how important is that to me now, when there's so many things I want to do where I can make a difference? And by me going to like a wine tasting event, besides, feeling, having a few glasses of wine, it's not going to do anything to me. It's where I can be at home or do something else, make a difference, or meet up with friends and, come up with ideas how we can make a difference collectively.
Yeah, that's so important. I mean, just you touched on it so perfectly, where it's like sometimes we get in this mode if someone invites us out for dinner and we feel like we have to go because that's our friend. But it's like, we don't. We have to make our decisions based off our own happiness. And if your happiness for that day is staying in your pajamas and getting some work done, or watching some TV, or sitting on your balcony and taking some time to yourself, take it. You are the boss. You are the CEO of your own life. And our decisions have to be based off of our own happiness. If not, we're just living for everyone else around us.
Yeah, even with, the being so structured, you talked about it, because I'm a very structured person, and if I'm off schedule, I beat myself internally behind the smile and stuff. I'm like, why did I do this? How, but, I had to give up my membership, unfortunately, and that was a really tough decision for me that I was battling for several months. But then I realized, you know what? I'm tired of being on a schedule.
Yeah.
You have to get up in the morning, you have to, cook, do all these things, and then I have to be on a schedule to go to class. It just gets to the point so I needed to, pivot and find something else that, made me happy, just as much as spinning, and at least put that on the sideburn, for now. And, now I'm cycling a little more outdoors, enjoying nature, enjoying my city, all these hidden trails I didn't know about, and parks, so...
And I love that you're adapted to it and you're making it work for you. I think sometimes when we're forced to get out of our schedule, we start to learn so much more about ourselves.
And you push yourself too.
You push yourself because you're like, okay, how can I fit time in for myself? And you have to make it work for you. And that's so important in life.
Yes. So tell us why Wellbeing is so important, self-care?
Self-care is so important on so many levels, so many levels. It's not just about the outside. Everyone gets obsessed about the outside and how does these clothes fit? I gained this much weight. It's way more than that. First of all, it's your health. So it's your inside. And then the most main important thing to me is your mindset, your mind. Let's say if you go for that 45-minute workout. When I teach workouts and they're 45 minutes in this group fitness or I'm personally training someone, I really take them and force them to be in a moment. You forget about any stress you had going on that week, throughout that day, and in those 45 minutes, you are there in that moment. And you might come to my workout and be in a bad mood, but I promise you, in 45 minutes, it's going to be an escape and I'm going to take you to a new place. Then you may leave that workout saying, okay, maybe that situation wasn't that serious. Maybe I'm okay. You might find a solution and say, oh, well, I was stressed out about this, but I found out I can make it work. So well-being is just very important, even if it's meditation, if it's doing squats, if it's going to a fitness class. You want to make sure you're taking time for yourself, but more importantly, it's about your mind and your body connection. When you go to a workout, I can tell you right now, your body is not the only thing that's doing the work. Your mind is doing the work also. And I think some people forget that. When you're doing a workout or you're doing anything, it's just like, well, oh, it's just my body and my body's tired. But it's like, is your mind tired? Is your mind tired? Is your mind able to get through this workout? Or are you stressed out and you have too much going on? So well-being is just so important because overall it helps you maybe stay out of a depression, or it helps you come out of that depression. I can tell you right now, before I got into fitness, I was depressed. I was very, very depressed. I was depressed. I was 80 pounds heavier. I was a lost soul within myself. And once I said, I'm gonna start jogging, and I couldn't even jog a block. And I started jogging like a block to the point where now within a year, I started doing marathons. It helped me in such a way and brought me out of this depression. And I said, whoa. It was a wake-up call for me. I was like, this is way more than just fitness. This is overall well-being. I'm challenging my mind, body, and soul. And once you understand that aspect of it, it goes so much further.
It's true, as I was saying, and I did this previous podcast was on biking. I used to bike a lot as a child. I mean, that was my ritual every day after school, 45 minutes, my brother and I kind of gave that up, when, I had a bad experience living in downtown and, where people were trying to, run me off the road, while I was cycling, and then I got my bike stolen where I lived, so that kind of put me off. And fortunately, Yog, we were talking about biking, and he likes to bike, so I got back into it. And I was constantly, at first I was a struggle, like I did 5 miles, and then I'm like, oh, it's not good enough, I need to do more. So, on the weekends I try to push myself more, but then there are times when I realize I go out just for the sake of going out, and I realize how exhausted my body is, even after 3 miles. And if there are times now I realize, I can't push myself. I just need to turn around and go back home. There was one incident just earlier this month. My goal was to ride 150 miles. Because last month I rode 119 miles. I thought I'll just ride 50 miles, and I kept pushing myself. But a few weekends ago, I really tried to push myself. I got up early on a Saturday, went biking, and around 9 a.m., I don't know if it was the sun or what it was, it just got to me so badly. And I'm like, no, I'm going to go a little further. But I'm like, wait, I'm about 10, 11 miles out. I need to make it back home. And, so that was a lesson for me. You know what? I can't push myself. Even if I just do 3 miles or 5 miles, and as Yog says, then I just need to do it and be satisfied, and just, when I have the strength and the energy, just, go back to it.
What you just said was so important. Be satisfied. Be satisfied. Don't beat yourself up about it. I feel like a lot of times in life in general, if we don't, let's say, like you said, you want to do 5 or 10 miles, if you didn't make it, sometimes we go back home, we be like, oh, I didn't do what I was supposed to do today. Oh, I'm so mad at myself. Instead of just saying, I'm satisfied, I'm thankful, and at least I got out and I attempted it. But you listen to your body and you listen to your mind. When you listen to your body, you're listening to your mind and your mindset. And sometimes you just need that day to say, okay, 3 to 6 miles is enough. Let me go back home. But I got it and I'm satisfied.
Yeah, it was interesting that we were just talking about this a few minutes ago. We were talking about the time on the phone, the usage time.
Yes.
It breaks it down for social media. And now when I get those stats, I look at it and I get so upset with myself. I'm like, oh my God, I just spent 4 hours during the week on social media just looking through random pictures and stuff. I mean, sometimes it motivates me and puts a smile on my face and, you learn. But there's a lot of times I'm just on my phone. I should not be on it, to be honest. And now we were talking about it. It's like, that 4 hours a week, I could have used it towards working out, going for a walk, listening to music while walking or doing something for myself, rather than spending so much, time on the phone scrolling through, feeds and stuff. Although I read the news too, on social media and get my information, like BBC and, some news sources, but still a lot of it is just going through stuff I should.
And it's all about balance. I started doing this kind of trick with myself, and I'm starting to learn is, let's say if I want to have a social media moment, sometimes I want to have a social media moment. And I'm not scared to admit that anymore. At first I was like, oh my God, it's so bad. But I go out for a walk, and I walk as I'm on social media. It makes me feel so much better in my mind knowing that I'm doing something productive for my body, but I could be on social media at the same time. Now, I am being safe when I'm walking, I'm paying attention to traffic, but there's something about taking a walk and being on social media that just makes my mind feel a little bit better. That it's about balance.
Mm-hmm. There's a blog that I'm following. I went to school with that individual. She's out of state, and she was saying, when it comes time to these Zoom meetings, what she does is put on, goes for a walk or works out.
Yeah, I see that a lot. I just got back from a business trip in Atlanta, and it surprised me how many people were on Zoom meetings as they were walking the park. But you know what? If you ever notice when you're out walking, I come up with my best ideas in the world, business-wise, health-wise, with my clientele. It's something about getting that body up and moving, and while you're on the phone, it feels so much better.
It does. Yeah. It makes a difference.
You definitely get that. It gets that blood moving, stimulated, and it just feels good.
So when you're not motivated, Ty, what do you do to pick yourself up?
Oh, I have those moments a lot, and I'm one of those trainers and fitness people that I'm not afraid to say motivation is so important to me. But what I do when I'm not motivated is I motivate others. There's something about me. Now, when you come to my classes, I give a lot of motivational speeches. And when I'm giving those speeches, sometimes I'm actually talking to the class, but I'm talking to myself at the same time. And I feel like if I say it out loud, it's just something that feels good inside of me that's saying, Ty, take your own advice. Also, when I'm having downtime, I love to look up motivational quotes. That is one of my things. I would go home, I would go on Pinterest or Instagram, and I just say motivational quotes of what I'm going through. Self-care, self-love, how to love yourself more. And I may just start reading quotes. Another thing I love to do is go out for walks. I'm a walker. I love to be one with nature. There's just something about me that just loves to be outside. So if I'm feeling down, I'm not feeling motivated, I'm not going on a walk for the fitness aspect of it. I'm going for the mindset of it. I want to be one with nature. I want to be outside. So often I have those times where I got to pick myself up, and a lot of times quotes help pick me up out of that. I have this thing that I started doing lately that I will only spend 10 minutes on TikTok. And if you've never been on TikTok, TikTok will make you laugh and bring you out of a rut so fast. But anything comedy, like I do something like the TikTok or go out for a walk. But I think the number one thing is looking up those motivational quotes. I have an app on my phone called I Am, and it's connected to my Apple Watch. And I Am, you can set it actually on your phone. And what it does is at 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. every day, the way I have it set up, it sends me a motivational quote right to my phone. And sometimes I forget I have it set, but it say, I'm beautiful and I'm worth it. And I'm like, oh, I just needed to hear that today. So I Am, the app, it really helps me out a lot. I'm very a motivational quote kind of person. And to know that at 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. every day that's going to come to my phone, it feels so good. And it just picks me up, and I just feel like it picks me up, it keeps me going, and And me being a trainer, I just know that I have to be there for other people too. And when I'm there for other people, something about that makes me feel good.
That's true. I know for me, music is important.
Oh yes.
Like, I listen to a lot of, international music and stuff, and, just the beats, it just kind of transports you into a different world. You can be in a bad mood,
Yes.
or, and it just, the music, you don't realize what you're doing, and before you know it, it's like, oh my God, it's an hour later. Yeah. So I think, one thing that I do is that I listen to music, and I'm like, I'm going to create a playlist to kind of motivate myself. Okay, go for a walk or something, and play with that playlist and stuff, and have different playlists to keep that motivation.
I love that. Oh my God, touching on that, you reminded me of that's one thing I did to uplift me is I created a playlist on my phone, and it's called Uplift Me. Uplift Me, and in that playlist, I know that if I'm ever feeling down, I could put on that playlist and it's never going to disappoint me. It's always going to make me smile and be like, this is why I'm fighting right now. This is why I'm going. This is why I can get through my struggles. That playlist always, and it's just that feel-good music that it just does something to me within about 10 minutes.
Exactly. And just, it gives you something, to look forward to, because, I try to challenge myself, at least, a few years ago, build a playlist that's an hour and just say, okay, I'm going to walk for an hour, while I listen to this playlist. And then, after an hour, it's like, I can walk even more.
Exactly. It's like, once you get yourself motivated, you always feel like you can do more.
Yeah.
You always feel like you can keep moving. And you get excited about tomorrow. I'm going to go for another walk, and how far can I walk today? And just enjoying that moment.
Yeah, and it also, the benefits too. You talked about earlier that you start becoming more creative.
Yes.
And I notice that I handle stress a lot better too. I'm a lot calmer. My blood pressure and heart rate is a lot lower, and you also sleep a lot better at night.
Yes.
It's like a domino effect.
It really is. And I always ask everyone, do you have a safe place? I always had a safe place. My safe place, even when I didn't live in the downtown Orlando area, it was always Lake Eola. No matter what I was going through when I lived in Kissimmee, I would always go to Lake Eola, and there was something about Lake Eola that would motivate me. If I was feeling down, I would say I would go to Lake Eola for an hour. I would walk the lake. It's something about it will motivate me. So whatever your safe place is, even if it's your living room, if it's your room, if it's your yoga mat, find you a safe place that can always uplift you.
That's true. So starting today, what is one thing someone can do to make a difference in their daily routine, or, for themselves?
For yourself. Starting today, I would say take time for yourself and do something do something that makes you feel good. So let's say if you're feeling in a rut and you feel like you don't know how to get motivated, can you get up today and can you do squats for 30 seconds? And while you're doing those squats, motivate yourself. Say motivational things for yourself. Say, I'm worth it. I'm the CEO of my own life. I got this. I can fight through this. There's so much more on the other side. But make those little challenges for yourself. So if you need something to get you motivated and up and moving, make you a challenge. That challenge can be going for a 5-minute walk, going for a 10-minute walk. Whatever you feel like you want that challenge to be, start small though. And once you start small, and you say, I'm going to do a 10-minute walk, and you complete that walk, say thank you to yourself. And say thank you, and I'm going to do this again tomorrow. Always start small. Start with a small goal. Even if it's doing a 10-second plank. Now do a 10-second plank tomorrow. And thank yourself when you're done and say, I'm going to do it again tomorrow. That's the most important thing. Start with a small goal and thank yourself for getting through that small goal. Because you can do this.
Yeah, that's true. One thing that has helped me, I've done this past year, is I know a lot of people say write it down, incorporate it into your schedule, little things like drink water or work out. And, on the phone, you're just constantly on it. And sometimes on the calendar, it doesn't mean anything. Like, if I see it pop up, I'm like, okay, snooze. Like, don't forget to take your vitamins and stuff like that. But, one thing that helps me is when I write it down.
Yes.
I have, this planner here. And I learned, like, before I would write things, okay, I'm going to work out this time, I'm going to do it. And then I would punish myself looking it back and saying, oh, I should have made time for this. I shouldn't have done this. I should have done that. But now what I've learned to do is not to be harsh on myself. And this is something that I'm doing, trying to work on, is as I work out, then I'll write it down.
Yes.
And then I'll highlight it in a bright color, so that way when I look back on it, it's a sense of accomplishment and
Yes.
motivation. So sometimes when I say, okay, I only worked out like twice during the week, and I look previous weeks like, oh, I worked out like 4 times
Yeah.
unexpectedly, or some days twice, I squeezed it in. I think, that has kind of motivated me as a stepping stone.
Yes, I love that. Keeping a journal is so important. I feel like if you have like a little small notebook or a journal, like you said, write it down and say, today I'm going to do whatever your goal is for that day. Write it down, and once you get done, highlight it. Like you said, I love that. And then go back and look at it, because once you go back and look at it, you're like, wow, look at me. I'm getting started on this journey of well-being, taking care of my mind, body, soul, and it feels good. And I'm telling you, it's a ripple effect. Once you start, you be like, okay, what can I do next? You're gonna always ask yourself, what can you do next?
Yeah. So how do you balance everything? And what advice do you have for those who are struggling to balance or feel like they're overwhelmed? Where do you start?
Yes, balance is so important. I feel like I'm still learning this as I go, because I've always been a busy person, but in the past, to tell you the truth, after this pandemic, my life got busier. Thank you, but it actually got so much busier. And I would have times sometimes where I don't work out for 2 days, and I would used to beat myself up. But I say, let me find time for myself. So no matter what I have going on, I always take a moment for myself. Last night, I was busy all day, and I said, I really wanted to hit the weights yesterday. I even told my partner, I said, I wanted to work out so bad. We came home, and I said, you know what? I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes, and I got 15 minutes to hit these weights. And even though it was 15 minutes after I hit those weights, I told myself, thank you, and I felt so good. Because I'm getting out of this habit of everything has to be structured, and if I don't work out at this certain time, then it's just done. The day is done, and I didn't get done what I needed to. Even if it's for 5 minutes, it makes me feel so much. It feels so good that I got it done. But it's all about balance, and it's all about taking things as they come. Sometimes life throws curveballs at us. It's like an example. Last week I wanted to work out, but I was stuck in traffic for an hour. So I couldn't work out. I literally had to turn around and go train my next client. I could have beat myself up about that, but I said, you know what? It's okay. Tomorrow when I go work out, I'm just going to work out a little bit harder. So even though I might be busy, I still find time for myself, and I don't beat myself up if I don't get to work out anymore. If I don't get that task done that I needed to, or that errand, then I say, you know what? I'm just going to do it tomorrow, and it's going to be okay. This is a journey, and it's life, and I'm going to enjoy this moment. But more importantly, I'm going to learn from this moment.
Yes, because you're the CEO of your life.
You're the CEO of your life.
No, I've really enjoyed this. I didn't want it to be structured, like I said, I'm new to the podcasting. I do it just, in hopes of helping others. And, you have really been influential and motivating factor, especially, when you were talking about working out with the, when you post videos, believe it or not, that's where some of my time spent on social media is that when I see the workout videos, that really gets me going. Like, okay, you know what? I see that kettlebell. I should go out and, get a nap and, get working out. So you really do motivate a lot of individuals, but most importantly, you're very genuine, and you're really a rare gem, and you're a good friend as well. And I want to collaborate. I know we talked about doing a fundraiser later on this year at some point.
Oh, yes.
So stay tuned. Maybe during the month of November, we'll plan something to honor caregivers.
Yes.
We'll make it virtual as well. That way it's just not for the Central Florida community, but that way virtually individuals can participate and honor caregivers. We'll come up with something creative.
I'm excited
to do when the weather's cooler. And I really want to thank Ty for taking time out of his valuable and action-packed schedule, for this podcast. And, thank you for listening. And we look forward to continuing this journey with you. And, please take care of yourself and just, remember that you are the CEO of your life and you're in charge of what you do, and you don't need to be harsh on yourself. Just even a minute a day, that it adds up, and it does make a difference.
It does.
Especially during the month of Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. Simple activities, just moving for a short period in the long run does make a difference, not only physically, mentally, but financially as well. So now is the time, no matter what age you're at, to invest in yourself.
Yes.
Time is important, and you can't take this back. You can only move forward.
You can move forward. You are the CEO of your life. Get motivated, get going. I promise you can do this.
Well, thank you very much, Ty.
Thank
this
you
was
so
really,
much.
really enjoyable. And thank you to the listeners for listening to the Indian podcast. And we look forward to our next episode. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.